Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Welcome to Swayam Prabha, Channel 15. Course title is Human Resource Management. Lecture title is Training and Development Part 1. This is Module 9, Lecture 2. I am Dr. Shoma Sengupta, Associate Professor Commerce, Kamla Nehru College, University of Delhi. The topics that we are going to discuss in this lecture are designing a training program and methods of training. Designing a training program. So in a training program, there are various steps to be followed, and these steps should be undertaken very carefully so that the training program becomes successful. The first step is identifying training needs. So for that, first we will do organizational analysis. In organizational analysis, we would study the organization in totality, and we will find out for what purposes we need a training program. So we can identify the need for training program by analyzing the organization. So what aspect of organization we should analyze specifically are analysis of objectives. Now, for the objective of organization should be carefully drawn and it should be carefully studied so as to find out where we are lagging behind, why we are not achieving the objectives, and where there is a training necessity or need. Then the resource utilization analysis is also done to find out how the resources are utilized. Is there any lacunae in it? And we find out the loopholes and we find out the need for training. Then the organizational climate as well as environmental analysis is done. So if we analyze the organizational climate, we can find out whether it is working efficiently or not. If not efficiently, there must be certain reasons behind it, and we identify those reasons and find out whether it can be remedied through a training program, or we can take up new people in the organization and train them so that there is an improvement in the productivity of the organization. Likewise, we can do an environmental analysis to find out what new technologies are there in the environment or market, and what other organizations are doing. And if we want to introduce such a technology in our organization, do we need to train or retrain our people? So this will again give you the cues about the training needs of an organization. Then we do task or role analysis again to find out or identify the training needs. So here what we do, we identify the contents, knowledge, skills and aptitudes required in the organization. So we find out, we already know the objectives of the organization. Now to achieve those objectives, certain tasks have to be done, certain skills are required. So whether we will find out whether such skills are there in the organization or not. So what tasks to be performed, what methods to be used, performance standards required of employees. So this we find out, and this will again give you a cue whether there is a shortcoming and or whether we need to have a training program so as to improve the performance of the people. Continuing with identification of training needs, the next type of analysis is the manpower analysis. Now we have to find out whether our manpower is capable to of being trained or not. So first of all, capability of present workforce to learn new skills and behavior is identified, then or judged. Then the time frame within which the training must be imparted. So that has to be found out. It may be that there is an urgency, that new technology has already entered the market and we are about to introduce it in our organization, and that's why training is required. Or there is a time frame within which we have to complete the training program. The extent of job designing and redesigning, introduction of new work methods and technology that you have to study, and whether the employees can be trained within a certain time frame to adapt to the new work methods and technology. Now, the steps in manpower analysis are: decide whether the performance of an individual is substandard and training is needed, determine whether the employee is capable of being trained, find out specific areas in which training is required, and whether training will improve their performance. The next step is setting training policy and objectives. The training policy indicates company's intention to develop its employees, design and implementation of the training program. In this, we have to decide about the critical areas where training has to be imparted, results expected, time and the place decisions, responsibility for training and the type of training, outside agencies to be associated with, payment decisions. So these are the things which we have to take care of while designing the training program. Then also the training objectives have to be decided, and this may include to impart knowledge and skills to the new entrant, to increase the effectiveness of the employees, to build up second line of competent officers, and it can be any other objective which we have already discussed when we were discussing the objectives of training program. The third step of designing a training program is the organizing of the program, or the designing of the program in nutshell. So here we will decide about every aspect of the training program. So first is deciding on the responsibility for training. So now this is a combined responsibility of different parties. One is obviously the top management. The support of top management is very important. So sometimes they initiate the training program on their own, or on the basis of requisition of different line supervisors or line managers, they decide on the training program. But they have to they have the responsibility of deciding about the budget, as well as sanctioning the training program, and allocating jobs also. So the first responsibility lies on the top management. Their support is imperative. Then comes the HR department, to whom the task of training is allocated. So the HR department mainly decide about all the modalities which has to be completed to start a training program. So HR department thinks about the trainees to be selected, the trainers to be selected, as well as all the material resources required, human resources required, everything they manage. Then the line supervisor, they have a definite role to play. They decide whether a training program is required or not. They send the requisition, plus they support the whole of the training program also. Sometimes they give their specific instructions in the training program also. Lecture can be arranged of the line supervisor as well. So to demonstrate, to illustrate things, the line managers also actively participate in the training program. And finally, the employees for whom the training program has been conducted, so they should also participate, and they have to give feedback also after the completion of the training program. Then comes the next in the process of organizing the training program, selecting the target group. It can be any combination, any type of employees, but that has to be decided in this stage only. So whether you are going to arrange the training program for new employees or old employees, unskilled, semi-skilled or skilled employees, supervisors or executives. So you have to select the target group for which the training program has to be arranged, because the whole of the contents and the material which will be supplied during the training program will depend upon the type of group selected for the training program. So the type of trainees, getting to know them is very important. In the organizing phase only, the next is motivating the target group. So first of all, you have to create a desire for learning among the trainees. If they are motivated for the training program, they will participate wholeheartedly and enthusiastically, and learning, they will learn new techniques, and the training program will be successful. So motivating the trainees is very important. So create a desire among them, for learning. Trainees should believe that the training will be beneficial for them in their work, in their career advancement. So that has to be inculcated in them. Then the climate conducive to learning must be created. Now you have to take care of the physical environment as well as the psychological environment. So for a conducive climate, the physical environment, a proper location of the training program, adequate space should be there, proper lighting, ventilation, all the physical facility, equipments, the sitting arrangement, everything has to be taken care of in physical environment. Then the psychological environment, the involvement of the trainee should be ensured, their participation, free social, uninhibited social interaction should be there. Then two-way communication or open communication has to be maintained during the training program. Friendly atmosphere should be there, helpful trainers should be there. Measuring the trainee's progress time to time during the training program is also important. So all this thing has to be decided while organizing the training program. Another important aspect of organizing the training program is preparing the trainers. So the trainers should be trained first and make them equipped enough to conduct the training program. Then develop a training package. So in that, the content of training should be clearly there, the modules and whatever way you are going to train them, designing the support material which will help or supplement the content, that is study notes, case studies, manuals, slides, brochures, whatever material is required. Then choosing the appropriate training methods, we will discuss the on the job and off the job training methods. So out of that, a combination of training method which is most suitable, that can be selected for the training program. Then the time period has to be decided, the time frame within which you are going to complete the training program, or if you are doing it on by a kind of a like module series, then you have to find out how many, by what time you are going to complete the whole of the training program. And also one important thing, that is the budget for the training, how much will be allocated for the training program. So that has to be decided, and accordingly the training program will be arranged. Then comes the action part, that is presentation. So finally, when the training program is actually taking place, it takes place through demonstration and instructions. Illustrations are shown, different types of, as we have studied the support material, the support material is distributed among them, slides are shown, movies are shown, the different experts, they deliver their presentation or demonstration during the training program. Then comes the again action part, that is performance tryout. Now here the trainees have to whatever they have learned, they have to demonstrate that whether they have learned it or not. So there is a performance tryout, some task is given to them and they have to complete the task, or their task will be tested, their knowledge will be tested whether they have gained it or not. And finally the follow-up, and the follow-up will require the feedback. It is a process whereby we can get the feedback of the trainees, whether they have learned something from the training program or not. Corrective actions will be taken if some weaknesses are there in the program, and also there will be an attempt to reinforce the learning whatever they have learned, and this type of information is used in designing the future training program. Moving back to the steps of the designing of a training program, the fourth step is conducting the training. Now here the training methods and techniques have to be decided. Now they can be classified into on-the-job training and off-the-job training. On-the-job training methods are coaching and mentoring, understudy, assistant to job rotation. Off-the-job training methods can be vestibule training, apprenticeship training, classroom training, and internship training. All these training methods we will discuss while discussing the methods of training. The fifth step of the training program is evaluating the training effectiveness. Now this is very important. There is this term training effectiveness, which is the degree to which trainees are able to learn and apply the knowledge and skills acquired in the training program. So what they have learned and how they apply that knowledge, that if we can measure, that will show the training effectiveness index. So training effectiveness depends on different things. One is the trainees characteristics and the training environment. So trainee, whether a training program will be effective or not, it depends upon the trainees characteristics, like his attitude, whether he has a positive attitude towards learning or not. If he has a positive attitude towards learning, then the training effectiveness will increase. Then his interest, if he is interested in the training program, again the training effectiveness will increase. Values, his value system will have an impact on training effectiveness, whether that values shows inculcate in him a quest for learning new things or not. Then his expectations from the training program, if the expectations are high, he knows that if I complete the training program, there will be I will be eligible for, say, promotion, or there will be career advancement. Then the training effectiveness will be higher, because he will undergo the training program enthusiastically. Then also training effectiveness depend upon the training environment. So how the training has been conducted, that will have an impact on the training environment effectiveness. So it means the environment, whether it was conducive for training or not, as we have discussed earlier, the physical and the psychological environment, and whether the trainees are enthusiastic in the training program or not, because of the physical and psychological environment, that will have an impact on the training effectiveness. Then the next thing about training effectiveness is how will you evaluate the effectiveness. So there are certain evaluation criteria. So training program is evaluated to find out its effectiveness, and the criteria may be reactions of the trainees can be monitored, found out, and that can be observed on their face, or their performance, or through some questionnaire you can find it out. So whatever it is, you can find out the reaction of the trainees towards the training program or modules. Then come the learning, whether they have learnt it or not. For that you have to take a test of their performance, and then find out whether they have learnt it or not, or you can observe them. If they are doing it well, then that means there is a learning. Then their behavior, if their behavior has changed in a positive way, then we can say that learning has taken place. Also the results will show in terms of productivity and all, that will again show whether the training was effective or not. The methods of evaluation of a training program can be, as we have said, that you have to find out their reaction, their learning, their behavior. The methods are the opinions and judgments of trainers, supervisors, superiors, and peers. So you can take the feedback from all these three kind of people and find out whether there is an improvement in the performance of the trainee or not. Then using questionnaires and evaluation forms, that is another method. Giving oral and written tests, arranging structured interviews, comparing trainees' performance on the job before and after training, studying profiles and career development charts of trainees, measuring levels of productivity, wastage, cost, absenteeism, and employee turnover after training. So if, yeah, in these indicators, in positive sense, productivity has increased, wastage and cost has reduced, absenteeism and employee turnover has reduced, we can say the training program is was effective. Then cost benefit analysis you can do, how much you have spent on the training program and how it is benefiting you through improved performance or higher morale of the employees. That will give a kind of a cost benefit analysis. So through all these, any of these methods or a combination of these methods, you can evaluate the training effectiveness. Finally, at the end of the training program, we have a proper feedback or follow-up process. Here we identify the causes of difference between expected and actual outcomes. It also reveals the weaknesses or errors in the training program. the necessary corrective action, necessary instructions may be repeated, reinforcement of the correct way of or learning process, inputs for designing future training programs. So this we have discussed also while in one of the step we were organizing the training program. There also we have discussed that the parameters is decided in advance. Now you find match through feedback or follow up, you match whether whatever parameters we have discussed or decided, whether it is matching with that or not, or we are falling short, and we take the corrective action. And this is a kind of a learning also. You learn from the mistakes, and you do not want to repeat it in the next training program. So it gives important inputs for designing the next training program as well. Methods of training. This is the next section. Here we are going to discuss the on-the-job training method and the off-the-job training program. So we will begin with the on-the-job training program. Now, on the job, as the name suggests, the trainees are placed on the regular job and they are taught the necessary skills. So in a way, they are learning by doing, And the methods of training are coaching or mentoring, understudy, assistant tool, and job rotation. Now, the merits of on-the-job training. First, we will discuss the merits and demerits, and then we will go to the different methods. So, merits of on-the-job training is that since it is learning by doing, actual machine is used in the real environment. So, once the training program is completed, you need not spend time on adjusting to the machine. You are already working on the real machine, and you are doing the real job. So that is the benefit of on-the-job training. It is economical because there is no separate training unit which is created. The employees are working and learning. The employees are earning while learning. So that is another benefit. The trainee learns the rules, regulations, and procedures by observing. Now it is suitable for teaching skills which can be acquired through observation. So if through observing others you can learn, so this type of method is useful. Then the demerits are the learner finds it difficult to concentrate on learning because they have to work also, complete the whatever task has been given to them, so meet the schedules also. So because of that there is a time pressure, and actually they are not spending much time in learning but just working it out. Then it is haphazard and unorganized. There is no training program as such is created, or time is specified, or the trainer is recruited for the purpose. So it is haphazard. They observe others and they learn. It may cause damage to the costly equipment and material, and there can be wastages also. So that kind of problem is there with on the job training program. So one by one, we will discuss the different on-the-job training programs. First is coaching or mentoring. Here the supervisor instructs and guides the training. So an employee is put, or trainee is put directly under a supervisor, and he observes the supervisor, he gets instructions and guidance from the supervisor, and the supervisor basically acts as a coach for the trainee. So the new employee, probably if he is a new employee, or even if he is an old employee, he may be put under a specific person who is known as a supervisor, or and the supervisor acts as a coach. The new employee learns the ins and outs of the job under the guidance of the supervisor. So the merit of this form is, of course, all the merits which we have discussed under on the job training program will be applicable here also. It improves relationship between the worker and the supervisor. So they can gel together during the learning phase itself. It is economical, and the employee is earning while learning, and he's doing the work also. Demerits of such a program is that the method is not effective when the supervisor is incompetent or does not take interest in training. So this is one of the problem, that if the supervisor is all the time not interested in making the trainee learn, making the employee learn, or he is disinterested, or it may be possible that in such a method you may learn the wrong way of doing things. If the supervisor is doing it in an incorrect way, so the trainee will also learn that wrong way of doing the work. Because remember, the supervisor after all is not the trainer. He is an employee of the organization, regular employee of the organization, concerned with his task. So if he is not the correct person to coach the trainee, the whole of the process will go waste. Similar to coaching is the next one, the understudy. Understudy is another method. Why it is called understudy is that here the trainee is imparted training by a senior and experienced employee, and this senior or experienced employee is about to leave the job, and the trainee is designated as the successor to the trainer. So once the senior or experienced employee, whether if he is vacating that job, maybe he is going away from the organization, like leaving the organization, or he may have been promoted to a higher position, so he is leaving this position. So the trainee is put directly under him, so that before he leaves the job, he will make the trainee ready for the job. So this is here the trainee is the heir apparent to the senior or experienced person. That means when he will leave, the trainee will take up his position. So trainee learns by observation and imitation, just like in case of coaching. Purpose is to prepare the trainee to fill the vacancy arising from the retirement and promotion of the trainer. So the merits, again the similar ones: economical, earn while learn. The trainee learns by observing. But the demerits are: the learner finds it difficult to concentrate on learning, may learn the wrong methods. If of course the senior or experienced employee, he himself is doing it incorrectly, then the trainee will also learn the same way of doing things, and that mistake will continue, and they will never learn the correct way of doing things. So that is about understudy. Next type of on-the-job training is assistant to. Now, as the name suggests, assistant to means a person will be assistant to a senior executive. The purpose of understudy and assistant to may be different, but the methods are same. The coaching, in case of coaching, understudy, assistant to, the methods are more or less the same. So here the trainee is placed as an assistant to a senior executive. Initially, the senior executive enters him with the routine jobs and guides him. Later on, more important and responsible assignments are given to the trainee. The trainee becomes competent to perform the job of the senior executive. So he will relieve the senior executive of the burden of doing the whole of the work. The merits of this type of training is, it is economical. Again, the trainee can earn and learn, and the trainee again learns by observing. Demerits are, the learners find it difficult to concentrate on the task, as is with all the on the job training programs, and it is haphazard and unorganized. Another type of on-the-job training program is or method is job rotation. Now, as the name suggests, rotating an employee from one job to another, shifting the employee from one job to the another is job rotation. So he will learn each one of the job for some time and then move to the next job. So the trainee is periodically rotated from job to job. Purpose is to broaden his outlook and to give general background of different jobs. Now you are making him a generalist. He is learning the nuances of each and every job in the organization. So in this way, what he is doing, you are broadening his knowledge, so he can take up a higher level position. He can become a manager later on, because he has the knowledge about each and every job. So it enhances his capability to understand or empathetically the problems of each and every department also. So that also inculcates a sense of empathy among the employees. Now, the merit of this type of program is the trainee learns a variety of tasks and develop a better view of the organization. So when he will become a manager, he will have a holistic view of the whole of the organization rather than compartmentalized view. The demerits is it may cause disruption in routine work or work routine. Only a few persons have the capability to move from one job to another, and because the adjustment and readjustment needs time, and everybody doesn't like change too often. So this is a job rotation, but here you are creating a kind of a managerial skill also among the trainees. The next type or category of methods of training are known as off-the-job training. As the name suggests, off the job, it means that the employee are trained outside the job. During the training program, he might not be performing the job. So he is put in a training program and he is concentrating on learning the job. So that is, employees are trained outside the job, off the job. Now the methods for off the job use for off the job training program are internship training, vestibule training, apprenticeship training, and classroom training. Now, when we talk about the merits and demerits, naturally the demerits of on the job training program becomes merits here, and the merits of that program becomes demerits of the job training program. So the merits of the job training program are: the learner concentrate on learning, it is organized and planned, no damage to costly equipment and material. The demerits are: actual machine is not used in the artificial environment, so there is a time gap when you have to adjust to the actual or real machine. It is expensive because you have to create the whole of the environment training. You have to create the training cell, appoint the trainers and conduct the training programs. You have to think about the physical facilities as well as make arrangements for food, everything. So it becomes an expensive program, and the employee is not earning while learning, so it is a disadvantage for the employees also. On suppose a new employee is recruited, for the first 1 month he may be given a kind of a stipend, but real salary may not be given to him because he is undergoing the training program. Now the first method or technique of the job training program is internship training. Now it is a joint program of training in which educational institution and business firms cooperate. Theoretical instruction is given in the technical institution and practical training is given in factories and offices. So this is an internship program whereby you are learning the theory part in the institute, maybe some educational institute, and for internship you are going out of that institute and doing it in a real circumstances and getting attached to a particular organization. So this the example of this is for medical profession, MBBS. You have to work, you will learn the theoretical knowledge in the medical college, but you have to learn the skill part by getting attached to a hospital. So you have to work in a hospital as a trainee. Likewise in chartered accountancy as well as for ITI, technical trainings, that type of internship programs are there. The merits are: it maintains balance between theory and practice, suitable for technical and professional jobs requiring advanced theoretical knowledge and practical experiences. The demerit is it is very time consuming process. Another technique of the job training is vestibule training. Now a training center is created which is called vestibule. It is set up and the actual job conditions are duplicated or simulated in it with expert trainers. So if you will be working in a machinery after completing a training program, so the same type of machinery will be created in this training workshop also. The trainers will be there, so it is an artificial condition where you are replicating or in a way simulating the actual work situation. The merits of this program is, of course, that trainee can concentrate on learning. Real job conditions motivates the trainee to learn because it is a replication or simulation of the real work condition. Essential where on the job training might result in a serious injury or destruction of costly equipment. So if a pilot is put on the job in the first phase, then the plane may crash, and plane is quite expensive material, as well as the life of the pilot is very important. So what is done is, first of all, in a simulated environment they learn the skills, and later on they are put on the real job. Correct method can be taught here, because the trainers know they are the specialists. They will make you learn the correct way of doing things. The demerits are, it is very expensive to replicate the whole of the real life situation in the training workshop. It is artificial, so since it is artificial, there will be problem of adjustments when the trainees will be put on the real job. They may find that the real machine is very different from the machine where they have learned the skills. Now this happens when you are learning, say, driving, and you are learning through a training school, and they will put you on in a car, whereby all the accelerators, brake, and all everything is there with the trainee also. So there is two sets of accelerators, two sets of brake, and two set of clutches. So what is happening when you are driving the car, you are thinking that during the training process that you know driving now, but it might be possible in different situations the trainer is controlling the car through his set of clutch and accelerator and brake. So when you will be driving all alone your real car, then the conditions may be different. Nobody is there to guide you. There is no one who will press the brake or clutch or accelerator. So there is difficulty in adjustment then. So it happens with vestibule training as well. Next is apprenticeship training. Under the Apprenticeship Act 1962, employers in specified industries are required to train the prescribed number of persons in designated trades by giving a stipend. So here the trainee is again going to learn the theoretical part, or theoretical instruction is provided in training institutes, and the actual work he will learn in certain organizations, maybe factories and all. So apprenticeship for skills of plumber, electrician, for all this thing, apprenticeship training is done. So for ITIs, the technical institutes also, apprenticeship training is provided. The merit is it combines theory and practice. The trainee acquires skills which are valuable in the job market, provides skilled workforce to the industry. The demerits are time consuming, expensive, trainees leave midway. The last type of off-the-job training is classroom training. Training is provided in company classrooms or in educational institutions. Lectures, case studies, group discussions, and audio-visual aids are used to impart knowledge and skills. Some companies maintain their own training institute or schools, whereby the trainees undergo a learning process. Special training courses are designed, like management courses for supervisors, computerized accounting for account assistants, etc. The merits of such type of training is suitable for teaching concepts and problem solving skills, useful for orientation and safety training programs. The demerits are it is expensive and small firms depend on outside institutions. Summarizing this lecture, we can say that designing a training program includes identifying training needs, setting training objectives, organizing or designing the program, conducting the training, evaluating it, and getting feedback. Training methods and techniques may be grouped under two categories, that is on-the-job training and off-the-job training. Coaching, mentoring, understudy, assistant to, and job rotation are on-the-job training methods. And vestibule training, apprenticeship training, classroom training, and internship training are off the job training methods. For reference, you can look into this book by DiCenzo and Robbins, Human Resource Management, and also Modern Human Resource Management by C.V. Gupta. Thank you, students. So this was Module 9, Lecture 2 of Training and Development Part 1.